Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om. So we have looked at what a stage Arjuna has come up to, and Bhagwan definitely is not happy the way he has lost complete track of why he entered this battlefield, why the entire Pandava clan and the entire Kauravas clan is right there in the Kurukshetra and is about to begin battle. And yet Arjuna is thinking that this is a complete adharmic way or a complete adharmic solution to the problem that was at hand. And it was not that, this whole matter was not thought of before. And yet, here was Arjuna who had completely lost hope, and he said, no, this is not going to be the right way to go. And therefore, O Bhagwan, I am giving up. I am going to leave this battlefield. Even if the Kauravas so wish, they can come and, I will leave my weapons. They can come and kill me. But I would rather not fight. This is the conclusion that he had arrived at. And also Bhagwan says over there, how, O Arjuna, have you come to such a state? This kind of a helplessness that has overcome you, how has it come about? Is it that you want the world to remember you as any of these three? So here, the any of these three, Bhagwan, named as Anarya Jushtam, right? The one which is, do you want to be completely un-Aryan like the heroes that you look up to, such as Rama, such as Pandu, your own ancestors, and the great warriors, the great Kshatriyas? Do you want to be not remembered like them? The greats that you look up to, the heroes that you look up to, don't you want to be one among them? Then why such, uncultured kind of a behavior which is totally out of character for you? Do you want to be remembered as Anarya Jushtam? Then he further says, that or do you want to be one who is, not aiming towards going to Swarga? Because that which you are trying to do now, that option that you are taking, it is definitely not going to earn you any punya. And if you are not going to get that punya, then how do you think you will go to any of the higher worlds? So that option also will be gone. If you think that by dying in this battlefield, you are going to go to Swarga without fighting, if you are going to die, then sorry, that is also not going to happen. So it is not going to give you, definitely it is not going to give you any kind of punya. And further, if you think that you are going to earn some accolades, some kind of praise, some kirti, some fame will come to you by leaving this battlefield for causes that you think are logical, are the right noble way of thinking, then no, sorry. When you leave the battlefield, even before starting the battle, then people are only going to remember you, and poo-poo you, they will say, this is that warrior who had all the capability, but he left even before the war started. So he is definitely not someone to look up to. So just forget about earning any kind of fame. You are definitely going to be defamed. In the future to come, no one is going to want to remember you or walk in your footsteps. So thus, Bhagwan was very clear, and not just that, to as if give a kind of complete shake up to him, he calls him klebhyam. He says, you have in your short-mindedness, in your short thinking, you have become as though impotent. You neither have the courage of a man, neither you have the sensitivity of a woman. That way you have become klebhyam. You have become as though you have become someone who doesn't have the purushatva, nor you have the feminineness even. The sensitivity to act on a situation as sensitively as possible. You don't have even that. You don't have the daring courage to face the situation that you have been placed in. So here he thought that at least using these words, Arjuna will come out of this light dose of what one might say is delusion alone, because he had connected with his relatives. He felt that he had a permanent connection to his relatives through his identity with this body. He had taken himself to be this individual, this body, and he felt that by killing his relatives, by killing his elders, his gurus, he was going to commit a great crime, and he couldn't live with it. But in doing so, he had completely lost track of where he was, and also that his decision was not his to take at all. What about the entire Pandavas clan who was there waiting to fight the battle? Did he even consult Yudhishthira? So here definitely, it is clear that Arjuna has somewhere lost out on his thinking. He is unclear about what he is saying. Even though his reasoning seems to be clear to him, yet somewhere he has not taken a complete overview of what he is about to do. And in that short-mindedness, or in that narrow thinking, which Bhagwan truly correctly says as Shudram Hrudaya Daurbalyam. Not only is his thinking narrow-minded, it is also that which has arisen because of his weakness of heart, which has come upon seeing Bhishma and Drona. And here what is Arjuna thinking? Arjuna is thinking, how am I going to raise my bow and arrow against my grandsire, against my teacher, against whom I am not even able to raise my voice. Even when I look, even if I have to see, even if I have to speak to them straight, then too I will as though keep my chin down. I will never raise my eyes up to them, because out of so much of respect and love that he had for them. And then, Arjuna is thinking that, but is Bhagwan understanding? For him, battle has always been against the unjust, those adharmis, those rakshasas, such as Madhu and Kaitabha. And therefore he is also called Madhusudana, the slayer of Madhus. So here it is clear that even though Bhagwan has tried in his best way to shake Arjuna out of this reverie, but Arjuna is somewhere thinking that, I am not talking all this out of cowardice. It is not that, I doubt my capability to fight them, fight my opponents, nor do I, doubt the strength of the army that is behind me, that is supporting me. But what I am thinking of is that this whole battle is going to be adharmic, because it is going to kill my kith and kin. So, Bhagwan, am I wrong? Am I wrong in my thinking? It is not going to be right on my part to raise my bow and arrow against my teacher, against my gurus, against the elders. How can I do that? I come from a background where I have been brought up in such a way that I have great respect for them. And now you are asking me to go ahead and shoot. So how is that going to happen? So therefore this is the kind of thinking, this is the mindset that Arjuna is having, right? But now if we ask ourselves, is Arjuna right? Because he is also thinking that, if we go ahead and we battle, what is going to happen? Surely people are going to die. And we say when people are going to die, that also includes Bhishma and Drona. And therefore he says, Hatvartha kamanstu guru nihaiva bunjiya bhogan drudhira pradigdan. Then, after winning, what is going to happen? What use is that, winning of that kind of grandeur or that land or, the pleasures that come up with it? It is going to be stained with the blood of my ancestors only, of my relatives only. How then am I going to enjoy anything? So, this blood-stained battlefield is going to remain in my memory forever and ever. Will I then be even able to sleep peacefully at any time? No, this is not going to help, right? So, here if we go to analyze whether Arjuna's thinking is right, then we have to see one perspective is that Arjuna's thinking so far has only been through the perspective of Kama and Artha, right? Because when he is saying that, what are we going to win? We are going to win, we are going to just acquire all the land and whatever it is that, we think is lawfully belonging also to the Pandavas. So when he is thinking, he is only thinking through the perspective of Kama and Artha. But there is also the Purushartha of what? Of moksha also, right? And for which dharma is as essential, right? So dharma and moksha is two perspectives which he is not really considering here, right? And therefore also Bhagwan sees this very clearly. He sees that Arjuna somewhere in his thinking has not taken into account a whole lot of factors. One is that, his own brothers always followed whatever Yudhishthira has decided. And Yudhishthira himself, he has the conviction in dharma and he will never stray away from that stand. So he too did go and bow down to Bhishma and Drona. He has equal amount of respect for them. But never did he waver from the decision that had been taken, right? So then why then did Arjuna suddenly take his own individual stand? Then second over there is, therefore one tries to understand why this perspective has come upon him. And then we can see that, he has somewhere mistaken his identity to be this individual. This individual, which is this body, to which is related all these people who stand before him, right? So, his attachment has led to his decision, right? His attachment has led to his delusion, which has clouded his thinking, which has taken him to this kind of a indecision. Should I fight or should I flee? Right? That is the position he has come upon right now. Right? And Bhagwan saw that this error in his thinking, the root of the error in his thinking is in his attachment to his identity as this body. And this has led to the greater grief, the greater sorrow, which he will keep seeing. Even if, this battle continues or he escapes from the battle or whatever it is. Even if right now he comes out of this situation, later this question will again hit him. The grief will keep coming back to him. And the only solution for that erroneous thinking is what? Is that Brahma Vidya. That which will show me the mirror and show me my true identity. So Bhagwan has taken the stand that this is the solution, and I have to give it to Arjuna right here on this battlefield. Fine. And of course, through Arjuna, it is us to whom this knowledge is also being given. Right? Of course, we have to see it in that perspective. We have to think of it in that perspective. And of course, Arjuna is seeing it in terms of the battle and his relations over there, and his dharma as a Kshatriya. But while he is seeing this, he is completely blotting out his dharma. He says that what is better? It is better that I take, a begging bowl and become a sannyasi and go outside this battle, right? But as a Kshatriya, what is his dharma? As a Kshatriya, his dharma is to fight the battle of dharma and not resort to any kind of adharma. His swadharma is to fight, to protect his people, not to leave the battlefield because he is faced by some kind of grief. Right when he can play his dharma to the hilt, how can he leave the battlefield and go? How then can he become a war hero even? Right? So that is definitely un-Kshatriya-like, right? It is completely against his own dharma. And therefore, again, this gives him a minus point, one might say, right? When does one take to sannyas? Of course, if we have heard of the story of Nachiketa in Kathopanishad, when does he go and ask Yamaraj for sannyas, or rather for that knowledge of renunciation? When he is at the peak, his father is already an established Brahmin. He is someone who has a lot of wealth and is giving it away, right? And who is the inheritor of that wealth? It is Nachiketa. And even then, he is asking Yamaraj the question, let me know, give me that knowledge knowing which everything is known. I do not want all the wealth that you are giving me. I don't want, all the cavalry, the horses, the elephants, the swarga, the apsaras. No, I don't want all that. You keep them for you only. I don't want them. What do I want? I want that highest of knowledge. So if Arjuna was taking that stand, I want sannyas because I want to know the truth. Not here when he is faced with his duty, his swadharma, right? When he is playing that role and he has to fight the battle, he can't just leave, na? So of course that is a error on his part. Then second is him thinking that he can go and ask for bhiksha. Now as a Kshatriya again, what is his swadharma? His swadharma is not to go and beg. His swadharma is never to go and ask for bhiksha, but is to provide, to protect. Right? So So never is it his dharma to go and ask for bhiksha. So that is not his calling. His calling is to be in that battlefield, right? So therefore Arjuna's thinking definitely is not in the right kind of logic. And who is seeing this? Bhagwan is seeing this. And the whole beauty of it is that Arjuna also sees that maybe there is something wrong in his thinking, and therefore he is also asking Bhagwan, he is also re-evaluating what he has put forth to Bhagwan, right? The logical way of thinking that he has put forth, even though he thinks he has he has said the right kind of things, then too, looking at Bhagwan's stance, he understands that maybe somewhere I am wrong. Maybe there is more clarity to be gained in this, and therefore Bhagwan is trying to shake me out of it. So here, here also Gurudev, he says that, this is a very subtle point to be decided. And therefore Vyasji thought of solving, because if you look from a outer perspective and we see how Arjuna has put his knowledge into his thoughts and expressed himself, the entire logic, it seems to be correct, and many scholars also say that he is correct. And yet, maybe to correct this kind of erroneous thinking alone, Ved Vyasji has put this whole dialogue in this kind of a format. And therefore he says that, Vyasa thought of solving this riddle for the society with the very principles of Hinduism for the guidance of future generations. The more we identify ourselves with the little I in us, the more will be our problems and confusions of life. So when he says that when we expand, when we are thinking from a very individual kind of a standpoint, then our thinking is not all conclusive. Our thinking is not holistic. Our thinking is very narrow. It is like that of a well frog. A well frog is never aware that there is an ocean. He thinks that this is the world alone, right? Whereas here when therefore, how will I then get that perspective of the totality? When I am able to, here Gurudev says, when we expand ourselves through our larger identifications, like for instance with an army, a cause or a principle or a nation or an age, we shall find in our moral confusions dwindling into almost nothingness. So what will happen? The moment we identify or expand ourselves to the totality, by offering our actions, our duties to a higher altar, what is going to happen is that with a higher vision, we will see the higher perspective of a particular situation and not just one minute needle-like thing. Okay, so here he says that we will not then have any kind of moral confusions. They will just vanish away. So therefore here he says Arjuna has to be jolted out of this situation, and that only Bhagwan can do for him. And therefore Arjuna also is seeing that, with the semblance of intelligence that he has now in this kind of a situation, Arjuna is therefore trying to, in his own way, appealing to Bhagwan. So in the next verse, in the 6th verse, he says, Na chaitad vidma kataranno gariyan yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha tevasthita pramukhe dhartarashtraha. So here he says, Na chaitad vidmaha kataranno gariyah yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyuhu yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha te avasthita pramukhe dhartarashraha. So here he says, oh Bhagwan, I see that there are two options. One is to fight and the other is to, one is to fight the battle and win, and the other is to lose the battle, right? And then also I don't understand what is better of the two. If we win the battle, if we fight and we win the battle, is that better than to fight and lose the battle? Either way, it is kind of like, it is something which I am not able to figure out which is the greater of the two. Should I win or should I lose? And even the sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying them, what wish will I have to go further with this life? Even that kind of riddles me at present. So here it looks as though Arjuna has totally lost it. Because the very opponents who had made his and his family's life miserable since his childhood, he is now thinking about them, and he is thinking, if they die in battle, what kind of life will I have thereafter? It will be so sad. He's thinking he will be grieving all his life because Dhritarashtra's sons, the Kauravas, are dead. So here he says that there seems to be two options, but I don't know which one is greater of the two. Is it better for us to win the battle, or is it better for them to win the battle? So here Arjuna has not only, it is very clear, it is not only a mental dilemma for him, even intellectually he has lost the power to make decisions. He, when do we get such confusions? When we are not able to exercise our intellect, right? It is not the choice whether to change the channel or keep the channel on the same. It is not the same, right? It is, even for that sometimes we are so lost. But here this is not that kind of a question at all. This question had been discussed over and over before, whether to go to battle or not go to battle. And all those who were involved had already thought it out, including Yudhishthira, including the Pandavas, including the Kauravas. Even the great men like Dronacharya, like Bhishma, they had decided long back, right? Bhishma was someone who of course also was on the side of dharma, yet he was witness to so many adharmic acts that were done by the Kauravas. And yet, because of the vow that he had taken ages back as a youth to always support the throne, right? The Kuru clan, the Kuru king, he said, okay, because of that, I have to be on the supportive side of Duryodhana. Actually, it was not Duryodhana, but it was the entire Kuru clan over there. And so he was justifying being supportive of all the adharmic acts that had happened. And yet he also admitted to the adharma that had happened. And yet, Arjuna, why was he having difficulty thinking whether it would be right to fight the war, to win or to lose? This kind of question he need not have even thought over one moment. because it was true injustice itself, which had been done over and over to the Pandavas. And funnily, the ones who were supporting Duryodhana, they were quite okay, at ease. They were not thinking that should we fight the battle or shouldn't we fight the battle. They were saying, chalo, we are here now. The moment, the flag is raised, we should start fighting. We are ready for battle. So they were not thinking twice at all. Then why this kind of thought in Arjuna's mind? So this is something Bhagwan now wanted to, as though, slap it out of him and say, what are you doing? You're only wasting time, Arjuna. So Arjuna, sensing this, he goes forth and he tells his state of mind by saying this. So this is the seventh verse. It says, Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yatreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. This is a beautiful verse, and this one of the Mahatmas, Akhandanandji Maharaj, he says that when you are ever feeling lost and confused and don't know what to do further, then this is the verse you can chant. Chant it over and over and appeal to Bhagwan, and watch how Bhagwan will give you a solution. Okay, so let's chant this once more. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yatreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Okay, so here the first line, the first two lines, they talk of the Krupanaha Bhava, which has overcome whom? It has overcome Arjuna. Here he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha. What is this Karpanya dosha, you might wonder, right? So Karpanyata, Krupanaha, one who has become Krupanaha. So if we look, if you look at a miser, who is a miser? The one who does kit about spending. He has a lot of wealth, but he wants to only keep it hoarded. He doesn't want to spend. He will think over and over. If he is told, if he is told to spend some money, he will think it over and over. He will be overpowered by this thought of, no, I should not part with my wealth. My money should not go. That is his thought over and over, right? So that is that kind of Krupanaha Bhava, where he doesn't want to spend, or he doesn't want to part away from the wealth that he has accumulated. So this Krupana Bhava is also, it is like, even if someone asks him to spend little money for his own comfort, be it for food, be it for rest, be it for travel, he will keep thinking over and over. He will not let even one pie to lose away from him, right? So that kind of a bhava has overcome Arjuna. But the context here is totally different. It is not in terms of parting from wealth. Okay, here the Krupanahata or the Krupanata is more in terms of not being able to use his intelligence. Okay, so here the Karpanya Bhava is about Buddhi Karpanya. Where what is this Buddhi Karpanya, you might ask? Here in Arjuna's context, it is as if he has the intelligence he has the intelligence. Na? All of us will agree to that. And therefore only he has, he has been called an ace warrior. He is someone who is the best student. He is someone, who was able to even appease even Lord Shiva or even Lord Indra. And so many things he has won, right? And he has best of it is, he has gained the friendship, the confidence of who? Of Lord Krishna himself, right? And yet, that same intelligent person is not able to think clearly or is not willing to think clearly, right? So that Karpanya Bhava is in terms of his buddhi here, where he has the intelligence but is not able to use it in the right way or is not willing to exercise his intellect to make the right decision. Sometimes it happens to us. When we have to make certain decisions, we get so confused and we say that I'm not able to think. I need some guidance. I need some more time. I'm not able to think whether this choice is right or that choice is right. Can someone give me a helpline? Maybe I can call a helpline and they will be able to guide me as to this is right or that is right. What is the best for me? I am not able to decide. Sometimes even as kids or youth also, right? We will go towards our parents or teachers or towards that friend, and we'll say that, nahi yaar, I can't think, so you think for me and you decide what is to be done because you know what is best for me, right? So to here, Arjuna has given up and he is saying ki, I don't want to take this tension. This tension is kind of killing me. This strain is killing me. So you take it up, O Bhagwan. I am bowing down to you. And there what does he do? He bows down to Bhagwan, calls him his Guru, and he does Guru Upasatti. What is Guru Upasatti? It is making that appeal to your Guru to accept you as his disciple. As a disciple, when you go and you bow down to that Guru and you appeal to that Guru, you propitiate to that Guru, that is said to be Guru Upasatti. That is that disciple bowing down to the teacher and saying, you know what is best to me. Yat Shreya. Yat Shreya Sya Nishchitam Bruhi Tanme. You are the one who knows what is the best for me, what is the highest choice for me, that you are aware, Bhagwan. You know me. Now you guide me. Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. I am appealing to you as a student. I am not asking you to give me a friendly guidance. I am not asking you as my charioteer. Now you keep aside all those roles that you had taken up. I know your greatness. I know and I had seen you in various situations, O Bhagwan. Though at that time also I thought, it is better to take on the guise of ignorance. But I had seen how you had, given that Akshay Patra to Draupadi, by which she was able to fulfill so many things for us, right? And I also saw how you came to her rescue. And so many other times also how you were right there when we were in a melancholy kind of situation and you saved us. So I know that you are not just this, that you appear and there is much to you, there is much wisdom that you can impart and only you can give me the right kind of situation, as a solution. Therefore, O Bhagwan, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. So I know you see the highest good for me. You know what is the highest good for me. So you provide me that solution, right? So here he says, further, again, when we say dharma sammudha chetaha, so dharma asammudha chetaha, the Arjuna has seen himself come upon that situation where he is not able to decide that which is his dharma and that which is adharma. Even though he has the brains, he is unable to use his intellectual power to make the right kind of decision. So he even admits to it, to Bhagwan, and he says, I'm complete moodha. You are the one who can give me that solution. So Bhagwan, you are the one who can guide me. So you have to save me now. Here again, I will bring out one more point about that karpanya or that krupanaha, that word. So here, even in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a debate between Gargi and Yajnavalkya Rishi. Right? So where they were, he was asked, who is a krupanaha? Who is the one who is a krupanaha? So there Yajnavalkya ji had answered saying, one who is unable to find the purpose of life or find the truth of life, that person is krupanaha. Even though getting a human birth, if one is not able to achieve the purpose of life or find out the truth of our identity, that person is a krupanaha. And one who is, of course, one who is able to realize that self as Brahman, as the ultimate truth, then that person is called a Brahmana, right? Brahma janati iti Brahmanaha, right? And one who is not able to use that intellectual power, the discriminative power, to what? To know the self as the truth. That person is krupanaha. Okay. So here of course now Arjuna, he has tried his best and he has put down his case and he has told Bhagwan that now you see me as your disciple. I know you know much greater the truth that I am unable to see. And therefore, Bhagwan, you are the one who can give me the right direction. Whether to fight or not fight, fight and win or fight and lose, you have to tell me, what should I do? I have become as though like a dumb puppet. So here in the next verse, he further goes on to say, Nahi prapashyami, okay, Nahi prapashyami mamapnudyad yachokamuchoshanamindriyanam avapya bhumavasapatna smruddham rajyam suranam apichadhipatyam. Nahi prapashyami mamapnudyad yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumava sapatna smruddham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam. So he says here, I do not see what is going to take away this sorrow that is burning down my senses. He's saying that it is not just left that grief which I am feeling of the action that I have not even taken, I have not even implemented that action, I have not even gone and started that battle, right? And yet, even before that, what has happened? It is as though my whole body has stalled, it has become fully heated and I am not able to move even. Then he says that, even if I am able to gain whatever success in this battle and win not just the land here but also the three worlds above, right? Or even conquer the world of gods, even gain the lordship over the gods, what use is it? I am not able to make sense of it. I am not able to see any kind of good coming from it. This is what he is saying now, right? And then further, he kind of puts down his weapon and he bows down to Lord Krishna. So here he says, here now Sanjaya takes on and he says, Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva rishikesham gudakeshah parantapa nayotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. So here Arjuna has gone silent. After saying what? After not just sitting down and bowing at the feet of the Lord, but he goes on to say that, no, O Rishikesha, I am not going to fight. I am not going to fight because I don't see any reason why I should proceed with this battle. So he says, Evam uktva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa. That same Parantapa, the one who was actually, the one whose name itself makes his enemies tremble in their shoes. That Parantapa, or Rishikesha, means that Parantapa, that Gudakesha, that same Arjuna, what did he do? He gave up. He resigned to his fate as though, and he sat down and he told Bhagwan, Govinda, he said, I am not going to fight this battle. O Rishikesha, I rest my case. This is not something that I see any good coming from. So therefore I give up. I am not going to fight, nor am I going to be able to say any more. Now you give me a solution out of this. So here, it is as though, a child who wants some kind of gain from the parent or the teacher or the sibling. What does he do? He cries and then he sulks, right? It is as though that kind of state has overcome or Arjuna. And he says, no, Abhi, I don't want to do anything. I am not going to think even. So you do the thinking for me because I am not able to use my brains. I have lost total control on myself. I am not able to even raise my hands. My senses have, as though burned down. I am not going to be able to do anything, right? And therefore, here, it is as though he has surrendered his cause and he says, Bas, now I can't do any further. Now you have to show me the way. So here here Sanjay of course is relating the whole episode to whom? To Dhritarashtra, right? And then he also tells him what happens further, right? Here in the 10th verse he says, Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayor madhe Vishidantamidam vachaha. So here, where has all this happened? This has happened right there, where Arjuna had asked to place that chariot of his, that beautiful chariot, that all enabled, all empowered, divine chariot of Arjuna, of 7 white horses. It is right there standing in the middle of the battlefield, and there Arjuna has told Rishikesha, Lord Krishna, that I am seeing you as my guru. I know that maybe my reasoning is not right, but you are the one who sees everything not like an individual but as that Lord alone. So now you give me the solution. I have rested my case. So further what happens? Now that Arjuna, what has he done? Arjuna has no longer he's that owner of that chariot who can order Krishna. No longer also is he, that great ace warrior who had gone and, bowed down to his great grandsire as well as his teacher, and seen all those, the greats who were there on both sides of the battlefield. Now he is, he's that confused Arjuna who seeks solution to not just this problem which has come about here in this battlefield, but to the essential problem which crops up every now and then in some or the other form. And we keep finding ways to, avert that problem, and we find temporary solutions to it. And we are satisfied with that, and we keep going with our life in this way, right? But Arjuna sees that, there has to be a permanent cure. So therefore, he asks Bhagwan, give me that solution which is not limited to this scenario alone. Give me that sure shot solution. Give me that permanent solution that whenever I am faced with such a situation, I know what to do. I am not left hanging in there, wondering where to look for that solution. So he did one very clever thing also. He didn't keep going on parrying about, hey, what is this? How could this happen to me? And blah blah. Earlier he was going on, right? And then he also, gave kind of a right kind of psychological, societal, etc. view to that problem, or rather the effects of that problem, had he to go forth with the action at hand. But he knew that, this pattern will keep continuing. And so he knows that the right person to give me a solution for it is standing right here next to me. I never looked upon him as that, but now is the best time to do it. So let me bow down to him. So there gone, all the pride, all the, all the ego that he had, and through that egoistic thinking alone, he was thinking of this problem, right? Or rather, he was looking at the solution as that situation as a problem, which others were not looking at. Others were thinking, this is a battle, I have to do my duty and I have to battle it, right? But here Arjuna was thinking that he is very unique, and therefore he was thinking in a very unique way. And it was only Krishna who could shake him out of him and give him the right solution. And that solution is what? That solution is knowing your true identity, so that one is not so attached to this deha bhava that one sees the world, sees all the situations that one faces only through this identity, and not that higher identity that one must embrace, right? So here, of course, we will take up what Lord Krishna has to say in the next session. So here is what is the seed to finding out, or to do that vichara, to do that inquiry on what is that truth. What is that truth which is unfailing, which is permanent, and not this anitya. It is not something which is going on changing, but it is that which ever is, which is unfailing to me, to the entire world in fact. But somehow I have, through my colored vision, through my vision colored with my likes and dislikes, through my limited experiences, I have seen myself as that limited individual, whereas the scriptures, they see it as that highest of truth, which is ever unchanging, which is never limited in time and space and object. So here is when, the seeker starts thinking and seeks solutions from the scriptures rather than the world. Because when I seek answers from the world is going to give me similar temporary solutions, which has ever been the norm. So now when I am seeking the truth, then who's going to give me that solution? The scriptures are going to give me the solution as long as I take the guidance from God and the Guru. Right? It is their grace which will give me clarity. Of course, there is also the the temporariness in finding out that solution also, right? Because sometimes what happens, we seek, but that seeking becomes only a phase for us. We say, okay, now is the time which is, very bad. So I say that, Bhagwan, give me a solution. And when Bhagwan is giving that solution, what are we saying? Okay, right now I don't have the time, Bhagwan. Can we look at it later on? So later on, my mind should be fully focused. So that time you give me. And so we keep postponing this attaining of the highest of truth. So Bhagwan also says, okay, fine, tathastu. Right? But the one who sustainedly and surely asks for that solution, to that person Bhagwan gives the truth. Right? And this is what is indicated over there when he says, Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. And and he also says, you know that the highest prayer for me, what am I entitled to, you know it, right? So you give me that solution. Right? So here, of course, we have to have that humility to approach the right Guru, and when the teaching is being given, to be available to it also. Right? So Bhagwan gives in various ways, but we keep seeking in different forms. Right? So that is how it is. We'll continue in the next class. Now, there was one question asked, okay, and this one is, in the beginning of the talk, it was mentioned that our instruments are not pure and we need to make them pure. So body, mind, etc. are instruments and need to make pure. But Shankara says, neti neti, we are none of these instruments. So if we are pure consciousness, knower of all, what are we doing trying to purify these instruments? So yes, you are right in putting forth these two thoughts, right? One is that we are not these instruments, and yet contrary to that, what is told, we have to purify these instruments. So point is that no matter how many times we listen to that truth, saying we are not this, we are not this, we might even put that Nirvana Shatkam that you are referring to in a very melodious voice and listen to it and sit quietly and listen to it repeated over and over. Is it reflecting in our thinking? Is it reflecting in our actions? It will not happen, immediately. Because right now, how am I perceiving it? I am perceiving it through these instruments only, right? Right now, my identity is with this body only. My identity is so strongly entrenched in my subconscious here that if I am even woken up from the sleep, what do I say? I wake up to being this body only, right? I don't say that I am Brahman or I am consciousness, no, right? So this identity with this instrument has become very strong. So till I am able to get rid of this identity by embracing that newly discovered identity. It is not that that identity is something new. No, that identity is always mine, but I have forgotten it. So now I have to rediscover it. And to rediscover it, I am using the same instrument of this body, mind, intellect. And right now it is definitely tainted with my raga dvesha, with kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Right? And every day I am waking up to this world, and when I am awake, I am also going to perform more and more actions. And with each action, there is bound to be a result. Right? So the story keeps continuing. And therefore, what is important? That chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata. Till I don't work on getting that, I have to continue it. Right? So therefore, definitely purity is essential for a seeker. And it is better that we start walking the path. There will be falls, there will be detours, but we have to keep having that destination in mind and keep building on the thought that I am that Satchidananda. Right? Neti neti by itself will not do. There is also an assertion to it of Aham Brahmasmi. Right? So that also has to happen parallelly. Till that time we have to keep on at this effort. And also for the there was one chart, he had sent of the family of the family tree of the Kurus, and how each of these, it has some other identity. Like here it is shown, like Ganga is said to be the other identity of Ganga, the river Ganga, or that Ganga character in the Mahabharata. Other identity is that of being consciousness or Chaitanya. See, why one suggestion to all is that there might be different schools of thoughts and there might be different interpretations, but we should, as far as possible, not get confused. So that Mahabharata, we see it as the story unveils, each character has one particular strain and one particular purpose. Okay, so it's best to see it as that, rather than going for some kind of complications. Like here, each character is also shown as consciousness, then there is father of creation, etc. Best to avoid this kind of confusions. What we have to understand is not these characters, but what we have to understand is what Bhagwan is saying. What is the instructions that Bhagwan is given through this Bhagavad Gita? That is more important to understand. Right? What is given in the Mahabharata is in terms of various situations and how each person's character trait makes them behave the way they did. Whether it is good, whether it is bad, whether it is neutral, that is for us to judge, or it is kind of like an elaboration on that which is given. Okay, so let's not get confused by any other interpretation given there. Let's stick to the story as it is given and more try to focus on what is the Upadesha given by Bhagwan. Okay, so we'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.